I feel like I should make some variation of the fact that I always say, like, rock and roll all the time. Like, I should make that the, like, official beginning of the podcast episode somehow. But that's as far as I got, just thinking that it should be some form of rock and roll.
Actually, just thinking the other day, like, we literally never introduce ourselves nor our guests for the most part.
I feel like I do a better job of introducing the guests when it's, like, something that I've been thinking about for, like, a while.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah,
don't know.
like, again, literally never introduced ourselves. Um, but also, like last week, we had Chris from Big Dumb Monsters on to introduce him, I don't
I
think.
did add that in the end credits of the episode. I'm not totally incompetent.
But it's the thing that I feel like they do on
I feel
podcasts.
like a lot of people do that on podcasts too. And maybe it just feels redundant because I'm the one saying it and, like, I know who the fuck we are.
Yes, but then there's people.
But then there's people. But the thing is, I also put our names in every single episode description,
Yeah.
and they're in the podcast description, and you can see them.
But what if they don't read the description? And also, what if they don't know who's who?
Mm, I suppose you're right. So, what do you propose? Other than
I
just the concept of introducing yourself?
Yeah. It was just an observation I made. Because,
Mm-hmm.
like, it's not like we generally refer to each other by name during. I mean, sometimes, I guess, but.
I mean, that's generally only if, like, I need to clarify who I'm, like, handing
If
the
we have a guest.
proverbial microphone off to, so to speak, when we do have a guest.
Yeah. Yeah. So maybe we have to come up with, like, a fun, brief introduction type thing. I don't
Hmm.
know.
It's only taken us 166 episodes to even arrive at the concept of introducing
So,
ourselves.
hey, I've only been here for, like, 130 of those. Don't think anything
Ooh,
of it.
huge difference. Anyway,
Yeah.
we'll have to think on that.
I feel like people are more likely to know the names of my cats because they get set off.
Yeah, yeah, that, I gotta say, that does track.
Yeah.
Before we get into anything, I'm assuming you had some inclement weather over this past weekend as well.
Ugh. It's like a freaking blizzard.
It was like a frick. It was honestly, it was exactly what it was. It was a freaking blizzard. The power at my apartment went off for, like, somewhere in the range of 16 to 18 hours.
Oh wow. We didn't lose
Um,
power here at all.
I can now put slept with a live python in my bed onto my
Yeah.
list of accomplishments. And
Yep.
before anyone starts to worry about that sentence, what had to happen was because
Body heat.
I have to keep my snake warm. She's a tropical sub-Saharan creature. Um, I like put her in a pillowcase and I tied a knot in the top of the pillowcase so she couldn't get out. And then when I went to bed, I just put the pillowcase underneath my sweatshirt and then I just sort of, like, slept flat on my back like a corpse. And that is how I avoided my snake freezing to death.
Yeah, like and every time I get a notification on my phone that the power's out and it's cold, it almost always happens when I'm like at work or out of town. And then I just freak out because I'm like, Harley's gonna die.
That's happened twice. Both times I have been home.
Yeah,
So, like, thank fuck for that. But
yeah. It's never lasted long enough for it to do any damage, thank God. But yeah, I've actually looked at getting like a small like backup generator that would kick on in case of, even just one big enough for his enclosure.
honestly, that's probably not a bad idea because, well, here's the thing. If I were to ever be doing any extended traveling, it's not like what I could theoretically do with Ellie, where she only eats every other week anyway.
Yeah.
So, like, if I just had a snake, frankly, I could go on a, like, 7-day vacation and not have to worry. other than, like, potentially the power going out while I'm not here. But now that I have Oliver, like, I would have to have somebody come. I mean, yeah, I have his auto feeder and his water dish, but even then, like, he'd need a little more being checked up on. So, like, any kind of extended traveling that I might do, I would have to have somebody at least checking in on wherever I lived, checking in on pets anyway.
Yeah.
So, like,
Yeah, but what if, like, you have just left town, the power goes out and you're already gone, and then nobody's coming until, like, a day or two later, and the power doesn't come out?
Yeah. That is a
Like,
thing.
I actually, at one point, that did happen when I was visiting my family in Ohio, and I got a notification that my power was out, and I started panicking, and I was, like, texting the person who was taking care of my cats, like, weird request. If the power stays off much longer, could you go and just, like, keep my snake close to your body?
I mean, sure.
I'm too thrilled about that. Not everybody's, super chill about snakes.
Which, in my personal opinion, is ridiculous, but I'm also not here to, like, make people who potentially have, like, a clinical phobia uncomfortable.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
But, yeah. So that is something that happened to me over the weekend.
Nice.
And in other news, before I get into our actual discussion points, I might have discovered Oliver's thing.
Yes, I'm interested to learn this since he doesn't really seem to have had a thing.
Exactly. So, for anyone who's confused by what I mean when I say Oliver's thing, Oliver is, of course, my cat, for anyone who might be listening for the first time. And there's this tweet by @Poppy_Hayes. It's a quote tweet of a video of a cat just absolutely just housing a raw beat. And the comment that this person made when they quote tweeted this video was, every cat upon instantiation will spawn with one random non-meat food item that it is obsessed with. There's no way to tell what this is until the day the cat will steal something off of your plate like its life depended upon it. And who is it? Luna? Her thing is toast?
Yeah. Toast and string cheese.
Toast.
It's not meat toast.
Yeah. So
kill you.
Here's the thing. I might have found Oliver's thing, but I didn't actually let him try it yet, because his thing might be strawberries and cream gelato from Trader Joe's, and I have to, like, look up all the ingredients and make sure that it's okay to give him a little taste. But
yeah,
I live alone for the most part. Like, Kyle comes and stays for a couple days sometimes, but I live alone, so the little container of gelato is just mine. I'll just eat it out of there with a spoon. And I had my dinner, and I was like, it's sweet treat time. So I grabbed my little container of gelato, sat down at the kitchen table, and this man was fiending for it. Just, like, all up in my face in a way that he has never been with anything else. And I was like, I don't know about this. I have to, like, kind of a pain in the ass, but, like, go through the ingredients one moment. Because, like, I know, like, I mean, again, technically cats aren't supposed to have dairy, but, like, a little taste of ice cream isn't gonna hurt, like, of, like, plain vanilla isn't gonna hurt them or whatever. But all the other stuff that's in, like, this thing specifically, I have to make sure is okay for him. But yeah, his thing might be strawberries and cream gelato.
I don't know if you remember, but my cat Bella, she was obsessed with ice cream.
I know she liked egg whites.
Well, yeah. But her like obsession was ice cream. She had this magic power that no matter where she was in the house, if she heard you open the freezer for ice cream, she was there.
Mm-hmm.
And like she knew when you were going for ice cream. Like if you were opening it up to get like a frozen pizza.
No. Okay. I've seen someone make almost this exact post with a cat that also likes ice cream. They can fucking read minds. I need to write this down so I can try and find this for myself, because I remember stumbling across this back when I was still on Tumblr. Cat ice cream mind reading. The notes that I leave for myself during the average podcast episode, or when I have to go back and, like, because sometimes I'll upload an episode that isn't finished yet, and like make it private so that I can listen and make sure that like the audio's okay, and if I need to link anything that I forgot that I mentioned. The notes that I leave for myself either during the actual recording of a podcast episode or when I go back and listen to it to find out what sources I have to find are nuts. But yeah, they can read minds.
I never understood how
This person was like, I did an experiment where the whole time I was making myself a bowl of ice cream, I was thinking tea thoughts. I was just thinking, I'm making myself a cup of tea, and their cat never came. So maybe, if you find yourself doing something similar, like grabbing some string cheese or whatever, do that. Think other thoughts and see what happens.
She always liked that. She would just like lose her mind to the point where I almost like stopped wanting to buy ice cream because like
my God.
I couldn't give her very much. Well, like I couldn't give her very much of it because I'm not generally a plain vanilla person.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I have to get like all this stuff in it, and so a lot of it she couldn't eat, and that would just feel so bad.
Aw.
Yeah, no, she
would she like get violent over it?
Oh, never violent, but she would be like in your face, constantly screaming, you know.
Oh, because here's the thing. When I say violent, I mean would the claws come out whether or not it was mean or not? Because, like,
No.
He gets violent when he wants treats bad enough. It's not mean. He's just trying to scale me.
No, I've never had a cat do that.
My son is horrific.
Yeah, so true.
Anyway, that aside, kind of general life updates, unless you have anything that has happened since the recording of the last episode that feels worth sharing.
Really?
Here's something I've been seeing going on lately that's been pissing me off.
Okay.
People,
the thing. Yeah.
People don't know what a hear me out is anymore. People are not using hear me out correctly. And I have a couple examples of this. One of them is slightly older, and one of them I saw literally today, which just made me feel so, like, I was just like, okay, so this was absolutely a thing that warrants discussion because I'm seeing more examples of this.
You became incensed.
Yes, I did. So here's what I think is the most egregious misuse of hear me out that I've ever seen. I have linked just the... Actually, no, go back. So this is a quote tweet, and it will be linked in the description, and so you can actually like go see the pictures. But somebody on Twitter posted, "I know she's old, but hear me out." And it was Linda fucking Cardellini, who, one, is like 48, which is not old, TM, but also one of the most fuckable MILFs I can think of. And this man said, hear me out, just because she's over 35?
Yeah, she's 48.
Unbelievable. So, as if that wasn't enough, like... I think that alone shows that we as a society, or that large portions of society, have lost sight of what a hear me out actually is. This is what I saw today. Someone's vintage hear me out was Gregory Peck. What are you people talking about? And the quote tweet here is so right. If you're gonna do hear me out, old Hollywood, you gotta do it with like Edward G. Robinson or Paul Muni or Peter Lorre. You can't be saying this with Gregory Peck. And again, they're so correct.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense because he was like known for being attractive.
Known for being incredibly handsome.
It's not like he was like a weird looking dude.
Yeah, and like here's the thing. I think a lot of people's hear me outs are particularly weak. Like an old Hollywood example of something that I think is a very weak hear me out, Buster Keaton. Like Orson Welles was cooking when he said that Buster Keaton was one of the most beautiful people ever to be put to film. He was so right.
Which I think in their mind, their logic is this was a person who was hot decades
back
ago?
in the day. That's weak. And again, maybe this is just like the first crush I have in my memory is on a person when they were attractive, like, you know, Harrison Ford, Han Solo. I was watching, like, I saw Star Wars for the first time in like 2006, and he was already old. So, like, there's that. So maybe I'm just already primed for the vintage, the throwback, like, ooh, look how smoking they were in the day. But even then, it's weak. What people consider to be a hear me out is so fucking weak. Or some of the hear me outs I have seen recently,
Yeah.
pathetic.
That doesn't make a bit of sense. If a person is hot, it doesn't matter at what point on the timeline they were hot. You can't just say, like, hear me out, and then put two very attractive pictures of a very attractive man.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Like, Christopher Plummer is not a hear me out.
Yeah.
Gregory Peck is not a hear me out. Jimmy Stewart is not a fucking hear me out.
And the Linda Cardellini one makes me really upset too, because
Stunning.
The sexism of it.
Stunning. Oh, she's old. Fuck
women
off.
can't become irrelevant at a certain age. Like, you just reach a certain number.
This man would hear me out, Gillian Anderson.
Yeah, probably.
Bullshit.
And I actually think she's kind of hotter older.
Oh, MILF City.
Yeah.
I love that woman. No, like, here's the thing. Like, the first couple, like, especially the pilot, because the pilot of any show is usually filmed, like, a little before, like, you make that to secure your funding for the first season. Like, the pilot of The X-Files, she's younger than I am. That's she's, like, 22. That's a child.
Yeah.
Like,
yep.
Early seasons, she's so beautiful in the early seasons of The X-Files. I think she's so attractive, but, like, she ages like wine.
Yeah, no. I mean, I think there are some people who honestly, I mean, she was beautiful when she was young, but there are just some people I feel like they wear age well.
Mm-hmm.
No,
100%.
And, like, Linda Cardellini, I wouldn't have even guessed she was that old. She doesn't even look that.
She looks fantastic,
old.
Quote unquote, that old again.
Yeah, she looks younger than her age.
She looks younger than her age, and she's not even 50.
She's younger than her age. She doesn't. She looks younger than her age. Her age is not that old, and also age is irrelevant.
Yeah, like the only thing that matters when you're talking about if someone is hot is, are they a legal adult?
Yes, I was gonna say if they're hot, but yeah, that was.
If they're hot, if they are an adult and they are hot, that's it. Full stop. End of sentence.
I forgot there were people who were not adults temporarily.
They don't exist.
Yeah. I forget sometimes. We're not kid people.
No.
But, yeah. So I just
and also, again,
here.
even when I was a kid, like, I'm noticing an incredibly weird trend lately of, like, 16-year-old on Twitter says something about, 27-year-old singer that they think is cute or whatever, and then somebody will swoop into the comments and be like, but you're a minor.
Okay.
It's very strange.
It doesn't go both ways.
It doesn't. Yeah, it's false equivalency.
That's a kid. Like, the whole argument that adults can't be with kids is that the kids' brains and bodies are not fully developed. So you cannot expect the people whose brains and bodies are not fully developed. And also,
I know for a fact, the thing is, I know for a fact that, like, the people who are swooping in to, like, say, like, oh, it's weird that a 16-year-old has a crush on, like, their favorite singer who's an adult. You did the exact same fucking thing when you were 16.
There is not a person alive who did not have a crush on an adult when they were younger.
Again.
It's impossible.
Would you, like... Harrison Ford.
Mm-hmm.
I was, like, 6. And all I thought was that he was cute. All I thought was that Han Solo was cute. I feel like they're making people think about the quote-unquote implications of it. Because even when I was in high school and I was, like, finding Mads Mikkelsen very attractive, like, I wasn't thinking about the, like, implications of that. I just thought he had a very attractive accent and, like, was a silver fox.
Yeah.
Like, don't make it weird. Like, don't make it weird. Like, you're making it weird by pointing it out.
I think sometimes people swing too far.
Oh, 100%.
we always got to be very hyper vigilant and make sure we never say anything that's upsetting. And it's like, yes, we should pay attention. We should, be cautious. But like, you gotta be reasonable.
Yeah, like teenagers especially, because like, you know, the sort of juvenile politics of the middle school, the elementary school, the middle school, the high school crush. It's a fucking lot to deal with. Teenagers are always gonna like, have their private little fantasies and crushes on, you know, people who are removed from that. The like, oh, play hard to get, pretend you don't actually like him, passing notes type thing. It's always been that way. It's always going to be that way. It was the same for 12-year-old girls having crushes on like 20-something Elvis. It's the same right now for 13-year-old girls having crushes on their favorite K-pop stars. It's always been that way. It's always going to be that way. Don't make it weird by like pointing out shit.
David Duchovny was, because X-Files came out when I was like 7? I can't remember exactly what the year was. Like 92, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So it might have been before my birthday. So I might have been 6, actually. So
yeah. You're making it so much weirder by saying something. It's not weird until you say something like that.
Yeah. Minors don't have the responsibility
to, like, on the adults.
Yeah, to pretend that they don't find adults attractive or not talk about it. That's a rite of passage. You gotta have
100%. And this is another thing that we're having a media moment here, but this is another thing that's kind of tangentially relevant, is I think that I think people learn words like parasocial, for example, and run with it in ways that they shouldn't, because I have noticed this trend of like, I think it was kind of a rite of passage for either you personally or to like sit down at a sleepover with your friend and plan out an incredibly detailed wedding with like whatever band guy you thought was cute. And I think now when people, like, I see teenagers, like young teenagers, like, the 14 planning my wedding with, like, I remember my friend saying, like, legitimately at a sleepover, planning her wedding with Pete Wentz.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I get it. A lot of people have those thoughts growing up. But they didn't have the internet to put them on, so it just remains this fun, like this cute, kind of, like this cringe kind of cute memory, like, oh yeah, I really thought I was gonna marry him or whatever. But now people put it on the internet, and then like a 14-year-old puts it on the internet, and then a slightly older teenager is like, oh, you have a parasocial relationship, like, breaking out the DSM just because some teenager said they want to marry a K-pop boy.
Parasocial relationships are not in the DSM.
Exactly, I know.
We've talked about this in the pod before. I can't remember when, but at some point
I might have been saying something similar, but it's very weird that these slightly older teenagers who have probably had the exact same experiences are so ready to dogpile on like a 14-year-old with their first like Tumblr account saying that they want to marry Jimin. It's very strange.
And you know what? Even if it is a parasocial relationship, they're actually very normal and very healthy and are a sign of sociability. People who have parasocial relationships through the media have more real-world relationships.
Mm-hmm.
Like, again, I literally have published work on parasocial.
People not knowing how to use the term parasocial relationships, it has taken years off of my life.
Yeah. I would invite them to read the original 1956 Horton and Wall piece that introduced the term parasocial.
There you have it.
There's also a great article from Giles where he breaks down the levels of parasocial interaction and the types of relationships.
Further reading for the interested.
I will assign them some readings.
But yeah. Bringing it back to the hear me outs, though.
We get here.
This happens whenever we get into like media.
Yeah.
I have a couple things, like, now that we've discussed that society does not know what the fuck a hear me out is, or a lot of people are using it incorrectly.
Both of those people are wrong.
I want to get into what is a true hear me out. Do we have a specific definition or a set of criteria? And then I want us to expose ourselves. We are going to do some personal, real hear me outs. None of this weak bullshit.
Yeah.
So, to begin, defining the true hear me out. It has to be something where you are saying hear me out, like you're genuinely begging your friends that you're sharing this opinion with. You have to be genuinely begging them for 5 seconds before they start laughing at you.
Yeah.
That's what a real hear me out is.
Yeah.
It is stalling for those precious few seconds before the laughter or the ew.
Yeah, it has to be something that is clearly controversial, like that people aren't going to automatically agree with you on.
Here's a potential controversial criteria. You should be ashamed when you're bringing it up. You should feel shame.
Shame, or maybe you're proud to like them, but you know that other
But you know how fucking weird it is. Okay, yeah, because here's the thing. Because I'm gonna say, as I'm saying that, I'm like, wait, I don't feel shame for my hear me outs. I've made several statements about being a monster fucker on this podcast before, so like, I don't feel shame for my hear me outs. But again, you have to be stalling for time to be able to get one sentence out of your mouth before everyone starts yelling.
Yeah, that makes sense. So, yeah, basically it's something that nearly everybody would disagree with.
Exactly. Nearly everyone would disagree. It has to inspire some sort of intense reaction, hence the need for the hear me out.
Yeah, because otherwise, why would you say that? You would just be like, hey, this person's hot.
And everyone's like, yeah.
Yeah, you're right. They are.
So, yeah, it has to inspire strong, probably negative or confused reactions from everyone around you. Whether or not you personally feel shame, that's up to you. And fuck shame.
Yeah.
Is my hot take, but I don't control how you live your life, how your feelings manifest. Sometimes it be like that.
So it's about the anticipated reactions of the people.
Yes, it is about the anticipated reactions. And I think that's it. You have to be anticipating a strong sort of negative or confused reaction from the people that you are sharing this with.
And did that person genuinely believe they're going to put up 2 pictures of Linda Cardellini and people are going to be like...
ew, no.
She's attractive. She's so old.
Unbelievable.
Like, no, that's a beautiful woman. I don't...
Next question.
I just don't understand.
So, yeah, now we, what are our genuine hear me outs?
Yeah, I feel like that's tough, because I tried to think about it a bit, and I don't know that there's anybody I find attractive that would be that controversial. What?
No, the fact that I have, like, several just already.
I mean, potentially Eugene Hoods.
I agree.
But I think most people would be like, he's kind of like with his mustache and his hair.
The mustache is a lot, but also like, whatever.
That's the closest I got.
It's mostly fictional characters for me, but immediate hear me out. Papa Emeritus the First. Are you good? Cat.
I was being circled.
Immediately. See, now I almost want to freak you out.
Well, but I feel like you...
But you also know me too well.
Yeah, I was going to say, you pretty much told me all the people you think are hot. So
yeah.
You can at this point. Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people might react weirdly if it's like an animated character.
Hello? That's also incredibly weak sauced. Unless your animated character is like distinctly non-human, which like we've all been there. But like no, if you're like, oh, how, like, if it's Howl from Howl's Moving Castle and you're like, hear me out, what are you fucking talking about? What are you talking about?
Yeah, but I just think a lot of people just animated characters in general like that's not a person, that's a drawing.
Oh, I don't even think this is a hear me out because I know that there are a ton of people on the internet who agree with me. But Alistor from Has Been Hotel,
I have not watched it yet, so I do not know what that character looks like.
very not human.
Oh,
But yeah, no, easy.
yeah. Hmm. I of course have my great anime love that is shared by many.
Satoru Gojo. I know. I sent you several memes about it this week.
I know. I, I love that other people are like as obsessed with him as I am.
That's the thing. I like you cannot, in good conscience, tell me that conventionally attractive but animated character is a real hear me out in this day and age. Just no,
Yeah.
no.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I don't really think that I have any. I'm real hard.
That's so sad. I think if I, I'm not gonna do this, but if I were to start going through my AO3 saves, we would unearth some things, which we're not gonna do. But yeah, they're definitely out there. But yeah, the way that I have seen people using hear me outs lately, weak.
Yeah.
Sad. Not remotely what a hear me out is.
And I feel like it makes me wonder why they do it. Like, are they trying to stir up some shit where people will be like, you're out of your mind? Or, like,
I think sometimes yes, but that also depends. And like, I might also just be seeing that more being in fandom spaces where like it is very normal to talk about like finding weird inhuman characters attractive,
yeah.
but
I think maybe these people think they're more interesting than they are.
also a possible again the Linda Cardellini one. Like no.
Yeah. Like, look at me, I'm so different, I'm edgy. It's like, dude.
No, you idiot.
I think that's honestly what it is, because they're not in those same kinds of spaces.
Oh, another hear me out. Hancock from Fallout 4.
I don't know.
It doesn't matter.
I'd have to Google it.
But yeah, easy.
No, no idea.
Wheatley from Portal 2, there's a hear me out.
That is that just a voice?
Yes, but he has a sort of robot body.
Okay, I haven't seen that.
But the body is literally just a sphere. It's mostly the implied character.
Mm.
But still.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just... Use it correctly or don't use it at all, is my conclusion there.
Because what you should have posted is, hey, look at this hot person.
Yeah, that's it.
That's
Literally it. So if we've wrapped that up,
Yeah.
I have another thing that I found on the Bird app, which I will be. Come on, do your thing. Thank you. Okay, so this is at Yosoi Michael on Twitter. I can't explain it, but there are shows meant to be binged while the sun is out and shows meant to be binged once it gets dark, and the two should never be mixed, even under the most dire circumstances. Hard agree. First of all, this is absolutely true, and if you think it's not, you're wrong. What do we got for one, maybe why is this true? And two, what do we got for examples?
It is true, and comedy is for daytime.
Yes.
And then like drama, sci-fi, horror is for the nighttime.
Absolutely. But is there anything else that's for the daytime?
Anything lighthearted,
Okay.
like reality shows.
Ooh, yes.
Reality shows are the daytime stuff. Documentaries.
Yeah, okay.
daytime stuff.
Yeah, so
Um,
daytime we've got documentaries, reality shows, comedies, nighttime, drama, science fiction, horror.
yeah, the
That
more
seems,
like intense genres.
yeah, that seems fair. And really, I think it all just comes down to tone.
Yep.
And also, from a logistical standpoint, just because you can't fucking see shit in movies these days, or at least in a lot of
Mhm.
big blockbusters, you gotta watch the things that are dark at night so you don't get the fucking glare.
Yeah. And it's interesting too because it's not even just like the light and the time of day kind of set what's appropriate to watch,
Mm-hmm.
but I think also what you watch affects your feeling on that day. Like,
Oh,
so
yeah.
for example, I have several, I always have several shows that I'm kind of in the middle of watching,
Mm-hmm.
um, but they're for different times of day and they depend on the day of the week.
Okay, yeah, I love having a schedule. I really do.
Yeah. So like I usually have something that's like comedy, lighter kind of for the daylight hours during the whole week and into the weekend.
I dig it.
And then I have a nighttime series, which for the most part has been anime recently. Um, Even though sometimes it can be comedy, it's still just actually that's a whole different point. Um, but my point about it affecting your mood of the day is that I feel like I can't watch anything that's like purely entertainment if it's a work day, like earlier in the day. So, for
Okay.
example, when I eat breakfast, I'm not going to watch my daytime show that's like comedy because that's not the right tone.
Okay.
I usually have some documentary or another that I'm watching on like Netflix or something, and I just turn it on wherever I left off, watch it while I eat, turn it off, and then resume it the like next day at breakfast, or maybe while I eat lunch if I'm working at home that day.
Okay.
So I have essentially daytime shows for when I'm not working and daytime shows for when I am working, I guess is what that boils down to.
Sure. I mean, I'm here for it.
Yeah.
I am interested in the point you were about to make about anime, though.
Yeah, which I think is trickier because I don't know that anime ever feels right in the daylight, regardless of the topic. And I
Hmm.
don't know why.
Counterpoint Chainsaw Man. We watched that in the day.
We did,
Did
but
it
it
feel
still
wrong?
feels I don't know that I could think on that level because I was so busy having my mind blown.
Entirely valid. Here's a question. Does it change if it's raining?
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
I think
Because
any nighttime show is okay if it's raining.
yep, because it changes the vibes entirely. Gets darker, you get the
Mm-hmm.
sound of the rain. Bonus if there's thunder and lightning.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes.
Man, I love a dark day.
I think that the same rule holds true for anime. Like, I would feel fine binging, like, Dead No Coil during the day, but Attack on Titan? No, fuck that. That's nighttime.
But maybe also it's because I don't really watch anything that's like pure comedy, when it comes to anime.
Yeah,
I mean,
okay.
I've definitely watched things that are more I kind of want to call them more kid appropriate in a way, where
Mm-hmm.
they're not quite as dark like Attack on Titan.
Yeah.
Um, they have a lot more comedy and lightheartedness to them that I'd be more okay with watching during the day. Like I think I watched some of Dr. Stone during the day. Like nobody dies in that ever. Even when you think somebody's on the brink of death, they miraculously survive somehow.
They always yoink them back. I gotta say, having watched the first episode of Yuri on Ice at night, it felt weird.
That's a daytime show.
I think it is a daytime show.
I literally know nothing about it except the thumbnail that I saw on Crunchyroll. It's a daytime show.
Yeah, no, it definitely is. Um, which is why it always feels weird when you come out of like a horror movie. If you actually go see something in a theater and it's still light out, you're like, ugh,
It's so upsetting.
hate it, hate it, hate it, hate it.
Yeah, no. Yeah, like the show that I'm currently watching, that time I got reincarnated by a slime, as a slime.
Daytime?
Yeah. Like it Also, nobody dies in that, so yeah, I feel like I could watch it during the daytime, but it can be fairly intense, so I feel like it can go either way.
So there are some exceptions, possibly.
Yeah, yeah,
I would say, this seems like a fair assessment to me.
yeah, because it has a good dose of like comedy in it. So I think the more comedy in something, the better it does during the day. Exception, what we do in the shadows.
Well, yeah, because it's vampires. That has to be at night.
So there are going to be caveats like that.
Yes.
But
Important things to establish here. Um, but unless we don't have anything to say about that, I have a couple things for the worsening today that I'm kind of excited about.
oh yeah, I got worse than stuff.
Oh, wonderful. So let's jump right into that. Um, One of my main worsening thing this week, other than having started Yuri on Ice, um, I am entering like, and maybe this is more of a me thing because I do more intense cosplays, but it's starting. Like the pre-con, like, ooh, crunch time. I have been going absolutely nuts with the shoulder armor that I'm working on for Vessel. Today, just today, I finally fucking finished. And I want to go back in time and kick my own ass for deciding to build armor with this much like fine detail work in the painting. That's on me. But just today, I finally fucking finished the like third coat of gold trim that I have to do on all these sections of the armor. That's finally done. And I've been working on it for ages. But we're finally got that part done. I get to add the fur to it soon, do the straps, and then I get to start working on my Violence Fiend mask, which is going to be my first time working with EVA foam, so
Yeah, we got what, like 5 weeks?
something like that. Oliver, whatever you're doing, stop it. Anyway, something like that. So I am shooting for having Vessel completely done by like the first week in April so that I can spend the rest of the time until the con working on the Violence Fiend mask, because everything else for that is so easy. I just need to thrift a blazer.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, the pre-con crunch is starting, and I'm having a lot of fun with it. So there's that, and then the other way that I'm worse today is
Another one.
it's the one I got on eBay that I brought up during the worsening last week. But now he's finally here,
Yeah.
and I'm so excited. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it so much. I'm so happy. I am definitely very carefully going to take him out of the box occasionally and put him in situations for fun, and also because it's mine, I'm not selling it, god damn it.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah. So excited. I am so surprised at, like, the amount of affection that I retroactively developed for, like, this character, this era of Ghost, because Opus Eponymous was the first album that I listened to, and at the time I was like, ooh, I don't know, but now I look back, I'm like, my beloved, I cannot believe I ever slept on you. So, I'm very excited to have my grubby little paws on this. And when I was talking in the guesties chat earlier today, I joked about making myself a little Primo plushie, and as we continued to make jokes about it, it became more serious, so that's probably a thing that I'm gonna wind up doing. So that's how I'm worse this week.
Fun.
What do you got for me, Bestie?
Things. I did briefly go to Toricon on
Did
Sunday.
you get your print?
I did. Yeah, so last year there was a set of 4 Chainsaw Man prints, and I only got 2 of them, and it was driving me crazy. I got the open space on the wall, but she wouldn't, like, I couldn't buy them from her and have her ship them, the artist, and she wasn't at any other cons that I was at. And so I went and I found her table and I got the other 2.
I think it's so funny that I remember you buying those prints and you saying, like, oh, I don't want the one of Aki because he's smoking a cigarette in it.
it still kind of bothers me a little bit, but I have it now. Well, but see, when I bought it last year, we hadn't even finished watching Chainsaw Man.
Yeah, we hadn't even finished the first
Started
season.
watching it. Yeah.
So,
And now, see, not only watched it all, but read
Aki
all of it.
Hayakawa, my beloved.
Yeah. So that was really exciting. But I also purchased one other thing. I got a plushie.
Is it Pochita? It's the cat bus!
And there's a tiny Totoro inside. He's like attached by elastic.
That's so cute. I'm obsessed. I absolutely love it.
Yeah. It immediately was like, this must be mine.
You're coming home with me.
Yeah. Like, that's for me. I see you over there. Yeah, because most of the plushies were like back behind tables and stuff, so you couldn't actually touch them. And I was like, ma'am, may I please see it? Can I see the cat bus?
Give it to me.
And I was like, this is mine.
I absolutely love it.
They did, there was a table that had banana fish figures. But, and I was going to take a picture and send it to you, but my phone was almost dead. I forgot to charge it.
Whoopsies.
But they were like, it's a brand I'd never heard of before, but they were sort of like the cutesy style, and I don't really like that.
No, if I was going to be spending money for a banana fish figure, I would want like this type of shit. I would want like impeccable detail.
Yeah, like a realistic one. I don't really like the cutesy things. Like Funko Pops are one thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely prefer a detailed realistic.
But even then, frankly, I've been becoming more discerning with my Funkos as I get older.
But I mean, I was just shocked. I was like, what
Yeah.
does that say? I like, let me pull it out. What is it? And they had both Ash and AG.
Aww.
Wow.
Make
If
them
they had
kiss.
if they had shorter, I would have automatically bought it. Like, there
Oh,
would
of
have been
course.
no question.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I was shocked myself. That's all I got were those prints and this plushie.
That's
so
good. I'm very impressed.
Yeah, I almost bought a Satoru Gojo figure. I almost bought a slime figure. His name's Rimuru Tempest, with his Tempest Wolf Ranga. He's very cute, but I didn't get it. I was so proud, so proud.
Nicely done. So aside from your con shopping,
Yes. I might be volunteering actually for a con in Philadelphia in a few weeks.
nice.
Yeah. So,
What
it's a
con?
it's diversity and inclusion con. It's only the second year they've done it, but it's largely put on by a bunch of Trekkies.
No
So
shit. That's so cool.
there's a ton of major Star Trek actors that are going to be there,
Mm.
including most of the cast of Star Trek Voyager, which is my favorite Trek.
I
You know,
love that for you.
yeah, and including Kate Mulgrew, who plays Captain Janeway on Voyager.
That's
But
awesome.
I have a friend who's like the programming director, and so I might go down and stay with her and help out at the con. So that's
Very
exciting.
exciting. Make sure you take stickers and business cards with you, bestie.
Okay, but the major way that I am worse this week,
Oh, holy shit.
the big one, those were my minor. That was my minor stuff. As you know, I recently purchased the game Pokemon Violet.
Oh my god, it's fucking happening. It's fucking
Well,
happening.
because I went to Toricon on Sunday, I decided like I'm just gonna make this like a Japanese stuff day.
Love it.
So, I watched anime, went to Toricon, I
Oh,
stopped
that
and
just
got
2 second thing. They have Sapporo at Trader Joe's in the like build your own 6-pack
huh?
section. So I got that and I'm gonna try that the next time Kyle and I are watching anime.
Yeah,
Continue.
somehow it just feels appropriate. Yeah. Yeah, on the way home, I stopped and got like a sushi bowl and some bubble tea and got a bunch of like Pocky and the little chocolate pandas. And I sat down and played the Pokemon. And that was 3 days ago? Yeah, 3 days ago. And in that time, I've caught almost 100 different Pokemon.
So, after being friends for several years,
Uh-huh.
do you get it now?
I mean, I think the problem is I have somewhat of an obsessive personality.
Yes, I mean, fork found in kitchen.
Yeah, I start a new thing and I know no other way but to like
Hmm.
lose myself in the thing.
Yeah.
Um, so I don't know how many hours I played it, but there's 400 Pokemon in the game. I found like a quarter of them already. Um, I have a couple that I've already evolved 2 levels. I've beaten 3 gyms out of 5 in 3 days, while also doing work and going to Toricon and
I'm so impressed. I'm so proud. You definitely need to do a little retroactive exploration of the Pokemon world, especially that Game Boy game I lent you, because
mm-hmm.
that's a personal favorite. But oh man, God, there's a whole world for you to explore there. Oh, Kyle's gonna be so happy because I haven't
Yeah.
played Scarlet or Violet.
I actually thought about like texting you yesterday or something, being like, I think Kyle should be a guest on the pod. Just to be
But
able to
no,
do
I've
that.
been. Here's the thing: if you continue down this road, I have been storing up questions for a Pokemon episode forever, thinking that I would never get to do it because I would need to find like 2 other people who have strong Pokemon opinions, and then have you be an impartial third party. No
Oh no.
longer.
Yeah, that's not gonna work so well. Yeah. But you know,
Oh, that's so
I
exciting.
yeah, I definitely I thought Kyle would be glad to know that I currently have a Sableye in my party.
Oh, he would be thrilled, and I am encouraging you right now to send that to the group chat literally as soon as we stop recording.
Maybe take a picture of the screen with my party on it and be like,
Yeah.
look. Yeah, I was stoked when I came across it pretty early, and I was like, I know who that is.
Sableye is such a cute Pokemon.
He is. Yeah, I the game is mostly me like wandering around, seeing a new Pokemon, and then being like,
Who's that?
what? And then if it's real cute, me just go, oh my
I
god.
love, man, if there's one thing Pokemon is great for, there's just so many little guys.
There's so many little guys. But the littlest guys I end up really hating because I keep accidentally running into them because I don't see them.
Oh yeah, I've never played. Well, the remakes of Diamond and Pearl for the Nintendo Switch have that feature, but only in the underground,
Mhm.
I think. But I've never played Scarlet or Violet, so like I don't have that problem with like the super tiny guys.
Yeah, no, they're like in the grass, and a lot of them run at you. Like they'll
Yeah.
run across the path, and like capsikids, I never see them. Or there's the little things called nibbles that look like little crickets.
Mm.
Those are so hard to see. Stupid flittles, they fly, but they're so little. That's why they're
What?
flittles.
What starter did you go with?
Uh, Brigatito, the grass cat. Of course, I went with the grass cat,
Ooh,
and she has already evolved 2 levels.
nice. I am
So,
often I'm either. Here's the thing. I tend towards the grass type starter pretty often, but there are tons of others that are not grass types that I love. Torchic is so fucking cute. Mudkip is so fucking cute. I play Pokemon like a 5-year-old, where if it's cute, I want it, and if it like I don't strategize. The only thing I care about are moves that lower my opponent's health. None of this status shit. The way that
see,
Kyle
that's
plays that scares me.
same. I just load them up with all the like most powerful attacks.
Yep, the only status I care about changing is my opponent's health.
Yeah, same. I was actually thinking about that because
But
you had
like
mentioned before, like when you build a
Cyndaquil is
character,
such a
it's all
cute
about
Pokemon.
yeah.
There's and like all the OG starters. Actually, I'm at the risk of getting into too much Pokemon discourse, which again I very much want to save now. I've never been a Charmander stan.
And the one that you gave me,
Oh yeah, you picked a Charmander.
and I almost picked the fire type this time. I forget what its name is for some reason all of a sudden,
Isn't
but
it
it was
Tepig?
no, it was really cute. It was
It's
so
it's
cute.
the Score Bunny?
No,
No, is it the one with is it the gator with the fucking craft single slapped on it?
No. What is that?
There's a little Pokemon that kind of looks like a fire gator, and one of its details is like a yellow-orange square, and it just looked like somebody slapped a craft single onto a creature. Same thing with
Those are,
Scorbunny.
yeah, I don't know those ones. Uh, Boy Coco
Oh, yeah.
is the
Yeah,
name.
I'm not. My Pokemon knowledge becomes shakier after I think it's like Gen 4 ish.
Yeah, yeah.
Because that's where like the nostalgia goggles stop for me.
Hmm.
So, but yeah, ooh,
Yeah,
I'll
yeah,
have to do a Pokemon episode. That'll be
yeah,
very fun.
yeah. I'm real stoked about one of my others. It's a Fletchling, but I've evolved it all the way up to a Flame Talon
Aw,
today.
Fletchling is cute.
But man, does that thing just like destroy everything, and I it just makes me so happy.
Absolutely love it. All right, well, this was delightful.
Mhm.
The vindication I feel having finally gotten you into Pokemon.
I have been saving it like I because I was like going to text you things about it, and I was like, no, no, I want it to be, saving this for the worsening.
Yes. All right. Well, as always, thank you for fighting with us, friends. We appreciate each and every single one of you, and we will be back again next week. Adios.
This week's episode of the Fighting with Friends podcast was hosted by Bridget Kelly and Dr. Sarah Brookes. You can find other episodes of the podcast on YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, or your other favorite listening platform. Follow us on Twitter at brkelly98 and at nsarahsaid. Rate and review us on your podcatcher of choice, like, comment, and subscribe to us on YouTube, follow us on Twitch and Facebook, and join our Discord community using the links in the description. You can also help support us via the Acast supporter feature, or consider subscribing to our Patreon for early access to episodes and fun bonus content. Thanks for listening!